No one wants guns in the hands of people with ill intent. We must not arm those who would harm. Instead, we must enact stronger laws to protect our communities. And we'll talk about 5 different proposals this morning. I will discuss 2 of them. Lieutenant Governor Den will discuss 1 of them, and Attorney General Biden will discuss 2 of them. The first is background checks for private sales. Under existing law, when a licensed dealer sells a firearm, he or she must perform a background check on the potential buyer. But when that sale does not involve a licensed dealer and occurs between private parties, no background check is required. Number 2 has to do with the mandatory reporting of lost or stolen firearms. This next proposal is designed to address the problem of missing guns. The statistics suggest this is a real problem. According to a 2002 study, from 1993 to 2002, almost 1.7 million firearms were reported stolen nationwide. Of that number, over 1 million remained missing as of the time of the study. And in Delaware, even though we don't have a mandatory reporting law for citizens, almost 300 guns were reported stolen in 2012 alone. Now, under current law, if a person owns a firearm and it gets lost or stolen, they're not required to report that loss to the police. Now, why is that a problem? Say a police officer recovers a gun at a crime scene and is able to trace it to its original owner. The officer asks the owner how his gun or her gun ended up at a crime scene, and the owner says, "Oh, I lost that gun months ago." Several things could be happening. 1, the owner could be telling the truth, he did lose a gun. But what law enforcement tells us is that sometimes the owner is not telling the truth. Maybe he sold the gun to someone who was ineligible to buy one himself. That's known as a straw purchase. And maybe that person used the gun to commit a crime. The point is, without mandatory reporting, there's very little that the police can do when an owner says, "I lost my gun," even if they suspect the owner really sold it to a criminal. This bill is simple. It would require that an owner report his or her lost or stolen firearm within 48 hours of discovering that it's missing. 7 other states and the District of Columbia require reporting of lost or stolen firearms, and Delaware should follow suit.
The third bill that we're going to be pursuing would regulate large capacity magazines. A magazine is the device that feeds a firearm ammunition, and a large capacity magazine is a magazine that allows a firearm to shoot an unusually large number of bullets without the shooter stopping to reload. According to a report from the Citizens Crime Commission of New York, there have been 30 mass shootings in the United States over the last 40 years. Each of them has been unique, and each has had its own horrific details. But one thing has been consistent. The shooter in each and every one of these mass shootings has used a large capacity magazine. It is the essential piece of equipment for a criminal who wants to shoot a lot of people. Our law enforcement community tells us that in any incident where a criminal is seeking to shoot multiple people, a critical point in the incident comes when the criminal has to stop to reload his gun. And large capacity magazines prevent those reloading moments and allow a criminal to keep shooting and shooting, as happened in Sandy Hook and so many other incidents. The legislation that we're going to propose, which will be sponsored by Representative Mitchell and Senator Peterson and a number of their colleagues, would prevent the manufacture, sale, offer for sale, purchase, receipt, transfer, or delivery of any large capacity magazine in Delaware. It would also ban the possession of large capacity magazines in public places. We will propose to define large capacity magazine based upon the experience of other states that have successfully regulated them, to mean a magazine with the capacity to accept more than 10 rounds for a handgun or 5 rounds for a rifle or shotgun.
The 2 bills that I want to round out this 5-part proposal with are, number 1, an assault weapons ban, which is basically the mirror of what the Lieutenant Governor just talked about. In 1994, as many of you know, Congress passed a federal assault weapons ban that expired in 2004. The bill would ban the proposed bill here in Delaware would ban the sale, transfer, and possession of automatic and semi-automatic weapons that were designed for military use and equipped with military features. These weapons were designed for battle and simply have no place on our streets. This is a very complex piece of legislation that we're still working on, and work with the General Assembly to make sure we get it before the General Assembly and passed. The assault weapons ban, which will be a fight, This will not be a Democrats versus Republicans issue. This will be people who believe that assault weapons simply don't have a place in our society other than for battle, and those who think that it infringes upon the constitutional right to bear arms. I stand here before you saying it does not infringe upon the Second Amendment. which I strongly believe in. The fifth part of this package is a bill that would ban the possession of firearms within 1,000 feet of a school, and will be sponsored by Representative Scott of Dover and a former member of the Capital School District Board. This is an issue that is close and dear to the hearts of many, but especially so for Representative Scott. We need to do more to protect our students, especially when there's a discussion about arming more people in our schools. Again, this will be a fight as well. This bill will help to ensure the safety of our children in our schools. By outlawing the possession of a firearm in close proximity to a school, we will enable law enforcement who stand behind me and the governor and lieutenant governor to interdict those individuals who knowingly possess firearms and do so near buildings and schoolyards. The purpose of this law is to create a safe school zone where children are secure, where parents can have peace, as the lieutenant governor walked his son to school this morning, and peace of mind that upon leaving them this morning, that they will not be subjected to gun violence, and where teachers, when my mom served for many years in the public school system in this state, where teachers can go on about their important task of educating their children without the fear of violence.
Now, these are difficult issues, and they arouse a high level of passion on all sides. Like, even when we disagree with each other's positions in these debates, I can tell you that nobody from my administration is going to question the intentions of the people who have opposing views. I respect the Second Amendment, but the measures that we propose today are entirely constitutional. So I expect a robust debate, but I believe this is not a debate about the Second Amendment. That said, there's a parallel discussion in Washington on these very issues, and it's my hope that we in Delaware can show our friends in Washington that we can disagree without being disagreeable, maybe even find some common ground to address what is one of the most difficult issues of our time.